the function f is defined by f of x equals x over x plus 2. What points xy on the graph of f have the property that the line tangent to f at xy has a slope of 1/2? So we have this function f of x, and we need to find out which one of these points has a tangent line to f of x that has a slope of 1/2. So what we really need to do is find out which points on this function have a derivative equal to 1/2. So the first thing we can do is find f prime of x, the derivative of x, of f of x. And we see here that we're dealing with a division of two functions, the x function up here and x plus 2 function. And so we can remember that the derivative of f of x over g of x is equal to the bottom function times the derivative of the top function minus the top function times the derivative of the bottom function over the square of the bottom function. So if we have f of x divided by g of x, the derivative using quotient rule is g times f prime minus f times g prime over g squared. So let's do that here, where the top function here will just be f, and the bottom function, x plus 2, will be g. So g, x plus 2, times f prime, so the derivative of f, which is just 1, since the derivative of x is just 1, then minus f, which is x, times g prime. The derivative of x is just 1, and the derivative of 2 is 0, so we just leave the 1. And all of that divided by the square of g. So we're just going to have x plus 2 whole squared. So this function here is the derivative of f of x. So we can simplify this down a little. So f of x, f prime of x equals x plus 2 minus x. We just distributed the 1, so it's just x plus 2, and then minus x times 1, so that's just negative x. And then we have x plus 2 whole squared. So in the numerator, we see the x's cancel out. So that means our derivative is just 2 over x plus 2 whole squared. Now we need to see where this derivative equals 1/2, because a tangent line having a slope of 1/2 just means we need to find where the derivative on the function f of x is 1/2, because the derivative of the function is the slope of the tangent line. So if we have a function, if we have a function like this parabola, the slope of the tangent line is just the derivative at that point if this graph is f of x. Okay, so let's set this derivative equal to 1/2 and solve for the values of x. So to solve this, we can cross multiply. So multiply across. So on the left-hand side, we have 2 times 2, which is just equal to 4. And on the right-hand side, we have 1 times x plus 2 whole squared, which is just equal to x plus 2 whole squared. Okay. So now let's take the square root of both sides. This will get rid of the square over here. So we'll have a 2 on the left-hand side And on the right-hand side, we'll have x plus 2. But since we took the square root here, we have a plus minus on the outside. So there are two different cases where the derivative of this function, f of x, has a slope of 1/2. So let's take the positive case first. So in the positive case, we have 2 equals x plus 2. So in this case, x just equals 0. And then in the second case, let's take the negative. So we have 2 equals negative x minus 2. So in this case, we have x equals, if we move the negative to the other side by adding 2, we get negative x equals 4. And then if we multiply both sides by -1, we get x equals -4. So we have x equals 0 and x equals -4 as our two values of x, where the derivative f of x, which is f prime of x, is equal to 1/2. And since the derivative equals 1/2 at these two x values, the slope of the tangent line is 1/2, since the derivative is just the slope of the tangent. So now let's find the corresponding y values by plugging in these x values. So if we plug in 0 or x into f of x, the original function, we'll get the y coordinate of the value for this x value. So when x equals 0, we have 0 over 0 plus 2, which is just equal to 0. So the coordinate of this point is 0, 0. So if we were to draw a tangent on f of x at this point 0, 0, the slope of that line, that tangent line, would be 1/2. Then we can do the same for x equals -4. F of -4 equals -4 over -4 plus 2. This is just equal to -4 over -2, which is just equal to 2. The coordinate of this point is -4, 2. So at this point as well, the derivative of f of x, f prime x, is equal to -1/2 at this point, which also means the slope of the tangent at this point is 1/2. So C is the correct answer.